Cool. Let's get it started. Oh, we have a couple of other places. SF Bay Area, NYC, Salt Lake City, Utah. I like the Salt Lake, the Great Lake. Fantastic. Um, awesome. Let's officially get started. Hello everyone. Really great to meet all of you. So my name is Jing Colin Wang. I am a host today and also one of the co-founder of Founder Coho. Before starting, I want to share why we started Founder Coho. As we are starting to and in the areas of so many AI startups and there's so many new information, it's incredibly important to learn fast. And the best way to learn is to learn together. So that's the reason why we had the founder cohort. And if you have not
Uh,
followed
do
us,
do you want to start screen sharing, or should I
yes, that'll
stop?
be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me quickly share my screen. We started a couple 3 years ago, and first offline, and then gradually expanding online to do podcast, founder interview, and live stream like this. We now have more than 200,000 total members across different medias, organize 50 events of a day every year. And also we have our YouTube channels. If you are interested to join any of our events like this or offline events or founder interviews, please reach out to us. And here's our social medias. Please scan the QR code. I will let that it stay here for a couple seconds, and you will find us in the group. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Given that, I will start officially today's topic. So all of us have been knowing that it's very, very important to leverage AI as much as possible. And today we have Shannon and also Yijia, two researchers from MIT and Stanford, showing us how they are using AI to actually have great impact. So they have they've done amazing research, but at the same time they also leveraged AI to create a podcast called Augmented Mind Podcast. And this is a very AI native podcast in which they use the AI workflow throughout the processes. And today, Shannon, we're going to review us all the secrets. I will give the floor to you, Shannon.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us, Conan, and then thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And also, I'm presenting this, but also Ija did a fantastic job leading this. I think she will show up and then talk to you guys very soon as well. Yeah, so let me start sharing my screen. I think you can see it. Oh, Ija, do you want to say hi to everybody? Oh, Ija, I think you're muted or somehow. Oh, okay. I guess we'll figure out the audio issue very quickly. Uh, all right. Maybe we'll figure it out the audio issue, and then she will talk to you again very soon. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Today I want to share a bit about how we make the Augmented Mind podcast with all this AI embedded here. We were literally chatting and joking about it. This is kind of like a self-case study in the sense that we talk about how AI can power us. And then this is exactly like how AI is powering us to do a bit more here. A little bit background. So who we are PhD students at Stanford and MIT, and we are very excited about this human-centered AI work. And we kept on reflecting on new ways to disseminate research. We have a lot of papers, technical documents every day, but then how to get the gist and then how to share that with more people is kind of a challenging topic today. And we are very excited to explore something new. We discovered that podcasts is perhaps like a helpful format to share both technical information and also fun stories behind the project, right? It gets us closer to the people behind the work. So that's why we started this crazy journey. We initially saw this as a kind of like fun project. And then also I want to highlight that Michael, who could not show up tonight, but he also did contribute a ton to this project as well. So we started this crazy journey. It's been already.
Sorry to interrupt, Shannon. I forgot to mention about that. For our audiences here, please, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please drop your comments in the platform that you're watching. Our colleagues will forward it to us, and we will connect those questions and have Shannon and Ija sharing their perspective. We'll do it roughly every few minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Feel free to dropping like any questions. But yeah, we started this crazy journey. It's been more than half a year. We released like 6 episodes covering very diverse topics on technical human AI work, and we have very very interesting domain applications. We even talked to the founders of VLM, Wusub Khan, about LM serving. We talked to Ken Liu about privacy, and recently we just talked to Professor Jeremy Avigad on Meta AI, which is very, very insightful. And we are also extending our podcast work. So we are doing this live streams, and we are adding this discussion forums and inviting you to contribute like guest posts, which our goal is to hope be more educative, as well as to promote all the knowledge around how to build up this like technical human-centered AI work. But apparently, the challenge is always how to do more with less resources. And primarily, I think we have 3 branches of work. The first one is content preparation and writing. This is kind of the most important part, whereas we need to choose who to interview, decide the topics, and also pick the questions to ask the speakers or the guests. And then we'll do a lot about podcast recording and post-production. The challenge is that how to do that without a big filming crew, which I might talk a bit about it depending on our time. And then the last thing is about the design, the coordination, the content release, and promotion, right? How to ensure it has a unique look and with human touches, right? Because everybody can create whatever websites now, but then you can easily tell this is a AI generated, right? And how to make sure this is give us this like unique a feeling, as well as make sure we pay attention to that. And apparently the question is like how to bring in AI in the steps and how to effectively use that. The part I really want to highlight is that it really takes careful human AI collaboration. And I will use this the so-called can food analogy to show that, in the sense that AIs can produce outputs that can satisfy the need for some time, but actually it's kind of like it produces a canned food without souls. And also people still like the carefully prepared food by human chefs, right? And in a way, I think like we are now like chefs powered with AIs, such that how we have this powerful tools, but then it still requires us to inject our care as well our thoughts in everything here. Wait, am I lost? Hello? Can you still hear me? Oh,
Yes.
good. Okay. Yeah. So then, okay. Apparently, we solved AI, but we did not solve internet issues. So, but yeah, our solution here is actually we did really a lot of work to incorporate AI in our workflow, but with a human touch, for the purpose of talking about both the podcast as well as the technical work. I will talk a bit about the case study on the creation of our videos later. And also, I'll firstly share this infra building part, which is like we create like a new tool for this like team AI collaboration. And the essence is that we distill the shared challenges from limitations from today's agent workflows, and then we want to build these new tools to scaffold our work. Okay, and I guess there are some questions. Yeah. Or are we good?
Yeah, you're good. You're
Okay,
good
cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the Sepo. But then before we build anything, I think we should definitely review what's going on with all the fantastic tools like Cloud Code or Codex, right? And I have a claim in the sense that today's human-agent interaction is not that scalable. So if we analyze from like time perspective, saying that if the x-axis is the interaction time and the y-axis is user friction, if we started using the agents for 1 hour or so, actually they are perfectly for that, because Cloud Code started from like a demo or hackathon demo, they're perfectly fine for short one-time use. But as you start to work on this for more than 1 hour, you want to seriously work on that for 10 hours or so, it will start to get some troubles. I think the first challenge is that there's a lot of interaction frictions. One can only open that many windows, and then context gets fragmented in different chats, and agent performance may degrade in these long sessions. And I guess you are all familiar with the chaos of managing many agent sessions. You just jump in between windows, and you see all the text output. It was scratching your head. It's like, what's going on here? And as we use the agents more, we might resume the agent work in different settings. Or continue the work from yesterday or a week ago. And this is the other challenge we see here, which is agents, they don't learn. There's a lot of wasted effort for repeated prompts, right? So you might have told the agent not to do force pushes in a previous chat, but again, this agent can make the same mistake in tomorrow's chat. And the crazy example might be the Reddit post that I saw, which is people use Cloud Cowork, and then it will accidentally delete all the files there without asking you for approval, which is definitely a nightmare. And then finally, when you start to work with it for weeks, even months, there's a natural need to coordinate your work with teammates, right? And apparently today's agent, they are focused on working with one single person, and there's a big challenge of sharing the work with other people. And I'm just drawing this analogy here, which is, what if you have multiple users talking to the same Cloud Code sessions? That would be kind of a fantastic dream. But yeah, to think about it, I would say our goal is to effectively scaling human-agent collaboration. And I will use this like seemingly simple equation to describe the goal here concretely, in the sense that organization efficiency is composed as H, alpha, and X, in the sense that H is, which I call this like scaling agent hours per human hour. So I'm using the Anthropic self-improving AI screenshot here, in the sense that they are talking about, there's more of Anthropic Cloud Code models being used to develop the next cloud models. But I think the hope is that we want to increase the agent sessions a user can manage simultaneously, such that they can improve the productivity per user base. But also, we do not want to burn tokens like blindly, in the sense that we want to improve the utility of the agent hours, such that they can be meaningfully contributing to the work instead of just burning the tokens. And finally is how the collaboration is scale among team users, saying that, okay, you might have 1 or 2 person being able to work very quickly, use a lot of agents, but if it doesn't scale among this whole team, then still the organization efficiency is bounded by that single person. So, and that leads to us to build the notion of this so-called like self-evolving repository, which is basically, it contains, I'll talk this 3 parts, whereas there's a harness that makes agents fully running on GitHub, and there's a continuous learning component, in the sense that they can learn this shared user or team rubrics to avoid this repeated work. And finally, there's this orchestration layer that it can structurize subtasks and handoffs over this whole GitHub infrastructure. And before I start talking about the details, I think, are there any questions, or I think we're good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. I'll continue. So I'll firstly start talking about our harness foundation. Basically, we build the whole harness such that we have the agents fully running on GitHub. So the idea is like we can directly invoke agents to answer questions, implement code, and fix bugs by just tagging the agent on any GitHub issues, pull requests, or even discussion threads. And the reason why I want to do that is there's a list of reasons, but then there's this like zero learning cost that we put agents in the environment they are already familiar with. But also there's a certain benefits like structured agent sessions as well native cloud agents, which I will show you like step by step. So here's just like one typical mock-up of the GitHub interface. But then what you can do is you start a new issue, and you can just think about like a specific feature, and then you discuss with the agent about what you want to build, and you can tag the agent there directly. So the agent responds to you directly on GitHub with checking the code, and there's no need for it to pull the code and then to start a local session. And after you confirm the work, then you can just tell the agent to orchestrate the work, and then they will just implement the features, as well as conducting automatic reviews, which I'll explain a bit, and also fix these issues, and then finally finish all the work on GitHub directly. In the sense that there's no need for it to have a local session. You don't need to clone the code. You don't need to keep your laptop open. It just runs there directly. And you might wonder, okay, seems to be like similar to a lot of like cloud agents, right? But actually, I should keep showing you more specific benefits of doing so.
Oh,
I
related
think,
to that, Shannon, I think
yeah.
so our attendees registered when they registered, they leave a lot of questions. So there's actually a lot of questions related to that.
Mhm.
How you set up this? Like, did you write your code? Did you use
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
plugin?
Oh yeah. So basically, we wrote everything ourselves. So, and it's an open source, so you can just install this yourself. So yeah. So I'll have a live demo to show it to you in a bit. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, the benefit of putting it on GitHub is actually very natural. You have this team AI collaboration, which I'll show very quickly, as well as the sessions across. I mean, you can easily reference and cross-reference other sessions with this like number ID systems through GitHub. So here's one concrete example in the sense that this happened when we were trying to update our episode page. Right. So then one of our team said that, okay, we want to update the episode, and the agent does some work, immediately reacting to this, and then the other user find out that, oh wow, it misses some like a cover there. So basically, instead of talking to the other person and then copy pasting the agent sessions, you just need to go to the same GitHub issue or thread and just comment there. And then there's no need to do the duplicate downloads. There's a very smooth handoffs across its users. And the agent respond to that immediately and fix the work, and then all the work's done on the cloud without any of this frictions that I mentioned previously. And yes, we have a link later for you to scan. Even we have even like the QR code prepared. Yeah. So the other benefit of doing so is that we enable this continual learning inside the code base, in the sense that because now we have all the chats, all the interactions being centered on GitHub. So then we can build all the infrastructure to scan your transcripts with the agent, and then to learn this. We call this like shared rubrics, such that it can use this to check future code and then to avoid this repeated mistakes. So one example here is we started implementing some features, and the agent did some work, but also I added like a follow-up feedback and a question, in the sense that why do you do so, and give some suggestions. The agent fixed the code inside the pull request, but then this specific feedback will be further scanned. So after we merge this pull request, we'll scan the transcript and then detect that this is some shareable lessons for the users. And therefore, we'll save this to the agent/rubrics branch, which is like a structured YAML file. And this will be used for the specific scenario. Is like this is we have all the metadata such that the agent knows when to apply this rubrics. And then in the future code implementation, I'm just showing you examples here. We can scan all the code. We have the agent sessions to check if each of the like implementation can satisfy this rubrics that we just added. and it can find the violations, and then it can just like automatically fix that to check how to improve the code per the rubrics, such that when you review the code, you don't need to really see this like intermediate imperfect version. What we should get is the final version that passes all the rubrics. Um, and the final like feature I want to share with you here is we allow this to orchestrate on long form tasks, in the sense that another big issue of agent slop in saying that the agent can just write a big chunk of code and it's very hard to review, and then the work becomes it's even taking more of your time to verify the code compared to you just write it yourself. So so basically, we have this infrastructure to launch sub agents in the structured ways and to reduce mental loads for reviewing. So what happens here is so we can discuss with the agent as we've done previously, and at some point, I talk to the agent and say, oh, we want to split this into this like 4 specific focused pull requests, like feature PRs. And then I just tell the agent to orchestrate the work. So then the agent will create these issues as well as implement them like one by one after each of them like pass the reviews. But if we look I mean, yeah, in the end, it can have this like PRs ready for review. But if you look inside the implementation loop as well, there is the agent will firstly implement the code, but also they will automatically switch to review, as well as it will check the rubrics as we just discussed, and it will check the code quantities. And then based on the suggestions and the rubrics reviews, this agent will automatically fix the issues. And then this loop, they'll continue this loop until it passes all the rubrics as well as the code quality checks. So, and then I think it's important that we have both the rubrics reviews as well as the code quality reviews, such that it makes sure that we have the correct version of the code, as well as a code that can satisfy your specific needs. And finally, I think this is our hope, in the sense that as you and your team interact with the agent, the collaboration should speed up, and ultimately the agent can take on the task. In the sense that if I think a lot about this question, in the sense that what do I really do talking to Cloud Code, right? And a major part of my work is just to give feedbacks in terms of some of the repeated problems that I've seen there. So then basically by distilling this to rubrics in an automated, in some like automated fashion, then we can effectively remove the needs to repeat our work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And in fact, Davey has a question about what is the Rubik's?
Yeah. So one concrete example is the one I show here. It's about, for example, a rubric is you can consider as either a guideline or a checklist, saying that it tells you about whether the code, like how the code should be written here. How do you architect the system? So this is kind of like one real example, is saying that when I was building the system, I tell the agent that it should be more flexible and trust more of agent-derived decisions when you write the infrastructure. And this is kind of like a rubric in terms of how you design the system workflow or the architecture. And this is one concrete example, saying that when the agent is working, writing the code, it can have many options to write the code, right? And this is some version they should stick to, right? Okay, and maybe we can have more examples in a bit, but okay.
Yeah.
Or do you have more questions, or?
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, also actually related to another question about, I think this is a question that always ask ahead, is that how do you, because when you have an agent that is started to working, how do you make sure that the work they do are good?
Yeah, so that's kind of effectively why we build this infrastructure, in the sense that like our goal is always saying that we want to scale the collaboration, meaning that we want to have the agent to do more autonomous work without us closely supervised, right? And then like there are two problems primarily coming out of from a agent swap. One is the agent will just write this like a hacky code to solve this like short-term problems rather than just like making this like scalable and for long-form development, right? So then we have this iterative like refinement step in the sense that it will start with, implementation and check the code quality and then fix that before moving on to the next task, right? And then the second is exactly what we do here with the rubrics, in the sense that, okay, there are many different ways to write the code, but then it's where you inject or maybe impose certain constraints to write the code that follows your style. And and I think this is why we want to have the rubrics review as a part of this loop as well, to make sure that the code that it writes can like there's a higher chance that it can be aligned with what you want the code to be written.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. There's a couple more questions. I think the first question is actually one question is like a lot of people.
Okay. This should be better now.
An open source link. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one thing.
We have the link. Yeah, we have the link already at the very end, but also I think Ija just posted over the chat there, I think.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. Also, we can post it as a YouTube comment here so that everyone can access it. In addition to that, I think Gura Luriev has a question. How do you think about the visibility of agent action? So this seems like a file and a forget request that are followed by reflection for self-improvement. What are humans mean to say?
Sorry, what are humans
mean to say?
Yeah, so I think there are two questions, right? One is about the agent's capability, in the sense that can the agent check the correct files and do the work? And the other is, how do you make sure the agent's working properly for the team, right? For the first question, actually, I don't think it's a primary problem for today's coding agents. Maybe it's a good time that I can just directly show our code base, which is exactly here. But in the sense is what we implemented effectively, like we have all the agent sessions in this individual GitHub actions, such that in this GitHub actions, they will run the full Cloud Code and Codex sessions to download the code, as well as implement the specific needs and the requests. But then, so basically for the files, as long as it's in your code base, it will always be checked. And then for like our involvement or for our task, I think we are primarily providing two kinds of inputs. One is we're deciding what to do with these agents, right? We are basically writing down these issues in terms of what to improve and what to do here. And then we are also guiding the agents to work in certain ways that are more aligned with our own version, in the sense that this is effectively teaching the agent to work with a team, right? And then the guidance is exactly the rubrics learning part, which I just showed you, in the sense that you present the agents, like when the agent finishes implementing some code, you can literally give them like specific feedbacks in terms of how they should be improved. And then this is automatically distilled and learned in later sessions. So basically, this is kind of like the two ways we're providing guidance and then providing inputs to the models. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, and then so this is a perfect timing to switch to this like actual case. I mean, I'm showing you just like little animations. It's not the font size is not big, but also this is like one real example that we did just a few days ago altogether. So basically, we finished recording episode 5, and then we finished editing. And then Michael, he wants to open the PR to release the episode on our website. And then I was the primary like developer for the website, but also like it's like a team effort. And then Michael is like helping with the release. So then if I do not have Sepo agent, what happened could be that I will receive this message from Michael, and I will just like download it, update my local GitHub repo, open a Cloud Code session, and then paste in there, say, hey, can you do this? And which is somewhat unfortunate in the sense that I'm basically doing a lot of repetitive work. But now with Sepo, the way to do so is, okay, Michael just create a new issue, add Sepo agent, and then pasting all the needed information. And then Sepo will start to go through everything here, confirm with Michael this plan here, and after everything check here, like Sepo start to implement that after Michael's approval, and then now it turned into like a pull request like this. So it's very seamless in the sense that there is no like extra human work, but also there's a important. I mean, this is still over like, and then we have this like a per branch deployment. So basically, we can literally see how the code, how the website looks like in this branch. But also, if we go to the interaction here, so actually, what happened is in the course of implementation, Michael found a bug on the website, which is there's a bit of overlapping text. So then they're also fixing that, but also I got tagged, and then I come to help, and I just like add another a proposal to fix this in the same thread, and then basically the agent implement this, and then I just merge that in, and then finally Michael merged that. So basically, the final version of our website doesn't have this issue, which is like very clean version. So, but I mean, this is not a big change, but also it shows a vision how this can streamline the work, right? Saying that everything here is done automatically on GitHub. There's a shared workspace, and everybody can just go there and contribute. There's no like additional handoff for going back and forth for
Oh, Shannon, I think we lost your audio. Um,
Okay, can you hear me now?
yes, we can now.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, yeah, it's like AI is great, but then audio issues still. Internet and audio issue. But yeah, so basically that's like one like actual example of how we use Sepo for this development, and I think this is kind of a good starting point for us to orchestrate like a larger chunk of tasks. Okay, so
Actually, related to that, there's a lot of people leave
mhm,
questions before asking about
mhm,
how, because you are using the agents to automate a lot of process. For example, filing ticket and you automatically creating
mhm.
the topics, and the first, a lot of people asking, how did you come up with topics? Do you also
Ah,
have agents to help you, or you come up with yourself?
Uh, I think maybe Ija can also say a lot about it because I think this is kind of the most important part in a podcast, in my view, in the sense of choosing what to say and choosing who to talk to, right? Or maybe Ija, do you want to say a bit about it?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So I think like for our idea of using AI to augment us, or what we call like human agent collaboration, one core part is really to decide which part for the AI to do and which part for human to do. I think in the previous part of today's live stream, Shannon actually gave a very concrete example of how we are using AI. But the question we just got is asking a more fundamental question about like how we decide which part for us to still take full control. So
Mhm.
from our perspective, just as Shannon said, I think to run a podcast, the most important thing is to discuss or decide what is the things we want to share or who we want to invite. So for this part, to be honest, we put it 100% human at a human's hand. So basically how we do is the podcast team, which is three of us, we regularly discuss and kind of sort out the candidate list we want to find. And in terms of how we reach out to our target guests, we also do it manually. So we are not using any AI agent to help us with it because we still think the human touch is super important here. So then to just have a quick summary of the question, I think first, when collaborating with the agent, it's important to still keep something at hand with like purely human does. But then when the part we want agent to do, I think what Shannon has shared is a very streamlined way to incorporate the agent to the team to do the part we don't want to do, right? For example, once we decide the title and record the episode, we really do not want to waste a lot of time to just post-processing or release it.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I think that we human always have our own places, like the creativity, connection, the community. That's what we humans should.
Yeah, and also for today's live stream, we are showing in person, right? We're not asking this Sepo agent to do it for us. I think that's the major reason.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have another question from Gurel. The question is like, do you currently plan to use your cool stack for long engineering tasks, like prep for interviews or any other long engineering tasks?
I think here maybe Shannon, you can use our example. Actually, a lot of things we are doing here is non-engineering, right?
I mean, yeah. So, okay, this is a very interesting question. So, in the sense that you can literally talk to Sepo to do many things on the site, and for example, you can even just ask like what this library is about or whatever, right? But then the weird thing is, it still lives on GitHub, in the sense that this whole infrastructure that that it can technically support many different tasks, but then it feels most right if your task is somewhat relevant to coding even. And maybe one other thing is we did this a funny thing called like podcast Klee, in the sense that we actually have our infrastructure to do video editing. It's not full pipeline, but it's kind of like it's automating some part of it. But in the sense that it's doing something that is considered to be non-coding, but actually, if you have some bit of code there, it can actually work very very nicely. Yeah.
Cool. I think the last question is also about prep for interviews specifically. Like, what do you have any concerns for people using AI for that?
Or yeah, or maybe I saw this question as like open-ended task not a fit.
Yeah.
I think it's a great question, in the sense that like when we are doing all these programming tasks, they are to some extent open-ended, right? In the sense that there is a many ways to implement this code, and there are many different architecture you can use. And this is whereas we want to have the rubrics imbued in the process, such that even though it's kind of open-ended, but then it can guide the code to be closer to what you want. So in the sense that I would say it's not whether a fit, but it's also like we want to get it done more closely to what you want in this like open-ended task. But also, if we are being really like rigorous on this like open-endedness, then there are like relatively less open-ended tasks, like implementing a specific feature. Whereas like I think the rubrics infrastructure that we have can actually be a good constraining factor to implement the code in the way that you want them to implement. But also there could be something like decide a topic, or even just write the full transcript, or maybe the full outline for a podcast, right? And the open-endedness, I mean the possible options in that space might be like way much bigger than the feature implementation like example. So in that case, I would say it's more or less like we can use like any agents as a way to throw some ideas, but then this might not be the final version that you want. It's just a quick way for you to try it out and then try to say no to something you don't want to have. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, great. All right, maybe I can then also show another case study, which is the human collaboration for creating animations. And insofar, we are mostly talking about the software engineering example, whereas like we have this pipeline to automate a lot of work in the through coding, but also we also creating videos, and in the sense that and one particular challenge in the video creation is actually animations. So I think this is another example that might be worthwhile to share with you, and maybe we can start watching this example. I don't mean to like show that, but I think this is like a quick example of like how intricate the AI pipeline can be when you start to create something a bit more complicated. So maybe I can start play a bit here. Can you hear the audio for that, or?
Uh, we simply cannot. No, there's no audio.
Oh, there's no audio from. Okay, maybe we'll put the link over there. But maybe I
Yeah.
think that the idea is if we watch the whole animation here, actually we can just have this playing. So we have all this overlaying of animations here, um, but
Yeah, maybe Shannon, you can do voiceover.
yeah,
Just explain.
I think this is a kind of like okay, maybe I want to just show you the visuals because it's all that matters here in this case, right? And I think that's a good start. That's a good point to stop here. So, in the sense that I think one particular thing I want to explain is this thing with many tables and with many desks. Uh, I think apparently, in the sense that we have AIs, we just think like, okay, the natural way you just think about it is like, okay, can we generate a thing with like many tables moving around and then with transparent background? And this actually doesn't work. And if we look at carefully, like it's like all the tables, all the desks here is a separate prompt from ChatGPT in the sense that you want to provide sufficient details, and then they can create this like detailed information for that table and desks, right? It's kind of like you have a like a full-fledged workflow to create this intricate like structure. And then the final example is even crazier. So like in the central part we have this like center like robot and etc as like a highlight of like how AI can be helping there. And what really happens is this is not just like a single prompt, it's kind of like a workflow in the sense that you will firstly have a version through Gemini, because at that time like Gemini 3 was the best kind of like image generator model. And then but then actually there's like a very ugly like a weird backgrounds, and also the texture of the image is kind of like very bad, so you cannot have like the full screen view there. So what happens, I have to send this to ChatGPT saying that, hey, can you improve the texture, and then can you make the background clean, because actually I removed the like the nasty background in the Gemini output. So it has this better version, better texture, but also it has this like a very strange black background, and it's kind of like a hard to remove that through this like object detection. So then basically I use another software to do this like a manual background removal and a composition, and then we have this like the final effect, because this is kind of like a highlight like like a, like avatar here, such that if you just have this like little AI swap, then this kind of doesn't look good. But this is kind of like one concrete example in the sense that, getting back to the initial part that I mentioned is like, um, it's all about like, AI gave us this like powerful tool, but then we should not think of AIs as the endpoint. We just think of it as a tool, and we are the chefs in terms of how to combine, compose all these tools all together into some like good outputs. And I think this is kind of a key point that I want to communicate here, in the sense that, uh, first of all, is we want to be really think about like how humans should be involved, right? Just like what Ija said, right? Is like what should be automated and what should not be automated. And then we build the tools and build the pipelines to make the automated part more efficient. And then this is kind of how we are thinking, like, maybe we started with a bit of like a blind hope or maybe blind optimism, but yeah, we kind of like made it working for a bit. So I think it's which is definitely it's definitely not possible without the help of AI. But also I think it also requires some bit of thinking in terms of how to use AI properly, such that we still have the human touches, have our like chef kind of style in this process. Okay, yeah. So I think this is links. This is the links here. I don't know if you can see that clearly through the webinar, but happy to take more questions. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So our team will also leave the links in the comments. Oh, I think one question many people ask, can they get the link for these slides?
Perhaps, yeah. I think there are a lot of parts that we might change later. So maybe when we have like a more finalized version, we can share it. Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll work on this and then we'll share in the recap of the live stream to the audiences. That's cool. Also, for anyone who are listening, if you have any question, please feel free to drop your questions in the platform you are watching. Just drop a comment, and we'll chat about that. And meanwhile, we're waiting for the questions. I will also ask several questions that people leave before. We have a tons of questions over there, but I will pick one of the most popular. The one of this is that a lot of people are actually curious about um, how you set up, like you choose different type of models. What models you're using? Do you see the different models have different kind of like traits that you learn throughout the process?
Yeah. So TLDR is I'd choose to use more models if that's possible, and use the latest model if that's possible. Sorry, that's kind of like a sad but also straightforward answer. But so what happens is so because I have both like a Codex and Cloud Code account simultaneously, and I use them swappably to look and check their performance, but because I'm also doing research in this field. And one concrete difference, I mean, I think this is a very well-known difference between Cloud Code as well as Codex, which is Cloud Code is more or less like it has like more of a human touch. It will be more collaborative compared to Codex. It will just ask you more questions. It will confirm with what you want. And Codex is more or less like, okay, tell me what you want to do, and I just get it done. Just finish there. And I think depending on the specific tasks you want to work on, you might pick either one or the other. I think this goes back to the more open-ended version as well, in the sense that if you have like something like more like exploratory stuff like that, you need more rounds of interactions, and you might want to choose Cloud Code. I mean, if Fable 5 is still there, I would definitely recommend that. But then I think otherwise, Opus 4.8 is also a good candidate. And then if you really know what you want to do, and you have like a very clear task specification, then you just shoot it with GPT 5.5. And another thing that we did in like Sepo is we have always, I mean, I'm just showing you like real examples here, which might be a bad idea, but when we do like AI code reviews, actually we will use like 3 agent sessions. One agent session from Cloud Code and then one from Codex separately, and a final one to synthesize them into just one piece. I think to me this is extremely important in the sense that having a different model reviewing the other model's implementation in a fresh separate session is going to give you a lot of a headroom in the implementation. Agent can definitely make mistakes, and then the other way, just think about it, is like we should not blame agents to making mistake one shot, because if we do the work one shot, we'll also make mistakes, right? So then that's the reason why we need some other people to review our code as well as check what's going on there. And but then if you use the same agent to review its code, uh, by nature, by the design of their training, there's higher likelihood they will agree with their own code. So then having a separate like other party to review their code is actually better. So in this case, I'll just use both. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that like you have mentioned great point. Like we humans also make mistake. That's the reason we
Yeah.
work as a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Totally.
uh, to make us like more robust. I think is that another question people ask is about when we build an agent team, which roles or agent capability we should prioritize, and how do we measure that we have succeed?
Yeah, that is a great question. And then I think nowadays we have the term called like loop engineering, right? You know, when it went back from prompt engineering to loop engineering. But what is loop engineering? And then this is kind of really the question here. In a sense, is running a loop is kind of what we are doing here as well, in the sense that you want to build a infrastructure for the agent to act autonomously themselves, right? And I think this gives us like the first answer to this question, which is like what matters here the most is your understanding of the process and workflows and how to architect the agent to work in a way that it can produce meaningful outputs rather than just like like the typical AI slot, right? And I think this is becoming like increasingly more important skills, and that's also why we are trying to make this work to such that we'll save more time working on this. And then the second question is about the capability, which capability are more important uh, uh, in the agent teams. Um, I think it could become like two questions, right? Which is like one, which is the model capability and which is the user capability in this case, right? And I think apparently for the user part, I do think like being able to think deeply and then trying to do more that's like a manager kind of role is kind of important. But then for the model capability, I do think um, um, there I think in a way I can say that is I think the overall model capability improves. I mean, as the overall model capability improves, then we should not worry about a specific capability or another. Uh, I think once like a very simple example is if you have an agent team working all together, right? You are basically a chaining like 10 agent or maybe 100 agent sessions, and then if the accuracy per session is like 0.9, then if you chain like 10 or 10 sessions, then you get only like 0.3 like final accuracy for that, right? But then if the agent capability like overall improves, if it's like 0.95, then the degradation goes lower. So then that's one way I would think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Cool, cool. I think there's a more specific question from Gura is like, how do you like when you do the code review loop engineer, how decide to stop after
uh
stop like end rounds or
Yeah. So there is a cap. By default is 10, but also I use either 20 or 40. But a good not good news, but then often the agents are good enough, though they will have this like after the reviews, if they think it's ready to ship, then they'll hand off to me for reviewing here. So then this is kind of like agent decides they can stop, improve there. Yeah. And uh, oh yeah, what do I use for the overall review of the two combined? So that is a less important choice in my view. So I use either Codex or Cloud, depending on which account I have more credits. But yeah, I think that part is less important in the sense that if we look at this specific example here, so the point is like it's mostly reconciling the different reviews and comments from each of the agents, and then most of the time it will flag all the issues, whether it's just like a warning level or it's like a blocking level or maybe info level. But then for most of the time is this is more or less like a text summary or text summarization task that I think the field has, you know, like solved pretty well. So I think that decision matters a bit less in this case. Yeah. And then there's another question of like, use applications reinforce learning for the self-evolving bot. A great question. So this rubrics idea is actually coming from an earlier paper that we wrote. It's called like DR2. It's like called like a training RL model with just like evolving rubrics, and you know, in order to do, like from a research context, training is something that we validate at a smaller scale, right? So in that paper, we show that using rubrics can improve the model performance with RL, but only at this like 8 billion parameter scale. And then how to use this for a production system, right? Because you do not want to use like a Quinn 3AB model for your own coding, right? Because otherwise that would be like even more wasteful here. And we apparently cannot train like a cloud code and then or maybe codex level models. So then what we did was this algorithm, this basic rubrics review. In the sense, this is a kind of like an inference time algorithm, saying that we have a generation and then we score that against the rubrics, and then based on the feedback, and then we improve on that, right? Even though we cannot directly train the models, we still can do this iterative refinement based on the rubrics reviews. So then the hope is that by spending more inference time compute, we can get both the benefits of the more powerful coding models, but also like incorporating our own rubrics in the final output. Yeah.
Cool. People are asking for the paper link.
Okay.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool. And then maybe the last question. Oh, maybe we should end here, or yeah.
I think also maybe I think there's another follow-up for question from Shadow is how do you know that agent wouldn't hallucinate?
Okay. So because okay, so basically this question should be expanded in the sense that are we asking this in the training setup, or are we asking this in this like real world usage setup? And in the training setup, it's an extremely hard question to say yes or no, in the sense that it's very hard for us to observe all the rollouts, like, I mean, the model generations, if they are really sticking to the rubrics. But then we have some confidence of that it's doing generally gradually better with respect to the rubrics, as we can evaluate the models, and we can see that it gets better scores. And then in this specific setup, and the usage setup, um, um, in the sense that what do we mean by hallucination on evolving itself, right? It's saying that there are two possible sources. The first source is like whether the rubric scoring, like the one here, is getting us the perfect scores we want. And the other is, are the model meaningfully improving the code it can implement in this process, right? And to answer the first question, I think the uh, um, it's less important to see if it's like absolutely give us the best scores here, but it's more important it can give us like a good relative ranking compared to one or the other, right? Saying that we don't. I mean, I don't really care if it's like 94 or 96, but I care if someone is like one is like 94 and the other is like 80 when there's a big difference. And then this is whereas like we have like clear evidence of like the code is being absolutely bad or somewhat good. And then the trajectory of the code improvement is also kind of relatively easily validated, in the sense that for me, it's like when I'm working on this code base, I always like I think I do this like a bi-weekly or something like a audits to make sure that the agents are actually improving in this like iterative loop. Otherwise, I'll just like wasting tokens, right? And I think for most of the time, the code indeed improves itself and it finds meaningful bugs. So then from my personal evaluation perspective, I can see that it's not really hallucination, but it's like meaningfully improving the code. I can say more about it, but maybe we might need to stop, or
Yeah. I think thanks for sharing, Shannon and Ija. That's fantastic. I think I will have one. People have one last question. It's like, how do they follow you or connect with you after after today? What would be the best way? Yeah.
I mean, you can find us on our podcast website, and just click the links, and you will find us. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing what the future of human and aging collaboration look like. And we're also very looking for all the insights you shared both in GitHub repo and your podcast as well. And thank you for sharing with the community. And
Awesome.
we're looking forward to keeping in touch. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye everyone,
Bye.
and looking forward to see all of you in next event. Bye.